Tom Justine and my co-hosts,
Justine Wanda.
Hey, the ever brilliant Justine. Asante, Justine, for being here once again. But this is one of those shows where we like to hear from you and also engage in a fierce debate between us. It's about the continuous voter registration exercise that's happening across the country. IEBC announced it, I think, 2 weeks ago now, and they're expecting to register over 6 million voters before 2027 elections in August. But a lot of people are asking questions about how many people have shown up to even get registered after 2 years of intense protests around the clarity of whether these elections are free and fair, and also the direction in governance that the country has been taking. Mostly anti-Ruto sentiment, as you'd expect, and probably what you've had on this show week in, week out, including Justine and I, as new voters, if I may say, people who are looking to enter the register. And we'll be sharing our experiences, hoping to hear from you and your experiences as well. But before we get into that, something happened, Justine, over the past few days. Larry Madowo puts up a
Are we live?
No. Good evening and welcome to this episode of The Big Picture. Big Picture, Big Conversations. This time, there's just two of us on set. I'm your host, your lead host today, Tom Justine, and I'm joined by my co-host, Justine Wanda, comedian, activist, human rights activist, satirist. Ziko nyingi manze, you have a long list. And script writer, by the way. But
no, award nominated scriptwriter.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Justine. Yeah, of course, yes. And today we're going to have a discussion about the continuous voter registration process announced 2 weeks ago by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IEBC, taking place across the country in IEBC constituency offices. We're going to chop it up about what that means, if this is the full picture, or if there is more to see here. If what Ruto is saying on stages, that young people agitate but never turn out to register to vote, is a true statement, or if there's more underlying within those statements and more underlying issues that are not getting the attention they deserve. And Justine and I are going to engage in fierce debate. But before we get into that, Justine, Larry Madowo, in typical Larry fashion, petty, he records a video over the weekend and posts it.
Yeah.
And it shows an MP driving on the wrong side of the road.
Of course, it's an MP driving on the wrong side of... Who else would it be? Okay, Matatu drivers, I'm sorry. I was underestimating your design. But honestly, I think what Larry does is not...
Yeah.
It's supposed to be all of our duties. Well, we're not just supposed to abscond holding people accountable. It just so happens that this particular driver was the driver of an MP, and the MP was on the co-driver's seat. So Larry blocks them, and they're kind of turning, and then because he's recording them, and...
With an iPhone 17.
How do you know?
He said it.
Oh, I didn't... Okay.
He made sure you knew.
Okay. I'm sorry. I underestimated like the values that were announced.
Yeah, he's
the
from
video.
Nyanza, man. He's from Nyanza.
But when you watch the video, you see the driver and the MP, and they're hurling insults. The driver goes taka taka. The MP is like pelekea Ruto, and it's just like a symphony of chaos and impunity. Like they were just like collaborating at the highest level of disrespect to the law. But the good thing is like this driver was arrested. He ended up at which court was this?
I think I don't know which court it was.
Yes, but he was arraigned, and he was charged with a traffic offense, and I think he's paying he's fined 100, yes, 100,000. So the next time you think of being a corrupt individual, dismissive of other road users, endangering other people, and I think 100,000 is too lenient too. It should have been more, because this kind of Senator Kibwana wrote a whole paragraph. It's like, you guys don't know how hard it is to be an MP. I'm like, shut up. Like, if it's hard, take a break. There's room for by-elections. Like, we don't need to be doing
to do this, man.
Exactly.
It's not
you
a
can
favor.
quit. Yeah, you can quiet quit like a true leader. Yeah.
That's a big word to use on them, but okay.
Yeah.
And 100K, I find this to be excessive from the government. As much as I hated the situation, worse things have happened, and the ODPPs...
You think this is too much from the government?
It's what's that? They call it a knee-jerk reaction, right?
But at the same time...
When you don't do... They wouldn't have done anything. This is a regular occurrence in Kenya.
It is a regular occurrence, but there's supposed to be a deterrent. There's a complicity that happens with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is also implicated in this. We also see a lot of Kenyans thinking, if an MP can get away with it, I should be able to do the exact same thing. But at the same time, we've seen over the last couple of months, especially throughout August and September, there are so many accidents. There's an accident that happened, I'm forgetting the intersection, but it wiped out an entire family.
Are you talking about the one in Kangemi?
Yes.
Yeah.
A whole family, they were in a van, and everyone died. So if we're going to talk about the larger problem we have of Kenyans violating roads, we should also have a system that holds people to account. If the deterrent works, I think we're getting somewhere.
There is no deterrent there,
but I just think, to your point, there's no deterrent, but I think at its basis, we need to have a better road culture than what we have right now.
100%, and it's not only two MPs, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's everyone, including matatus.
Yeah.
I cheer when a matatu goes on the wrong side as long as it gets me in the right.
I have gotten off a matatu because the driver was doing reckless stuff.
That's not true.
True.
That's not true.
True. It's true.
Nah.
Okay. You don't know my life, first of all.
Yeah, that's not true.
No, and then secondly, like, I knew where I was going,
Yeah.
and I know how this person was driving,
Yeah.
and I am not a very vocal person. Despite the work that I do, I'm not very vocal in matatus because I'm afraid the conductor might decide to start punching me because it has happened to other passengers.
Yes.
So my measure is usually to leave and like maybe do like a suggestion thing. Si muendeshe pole pole. Like,
pole pole kutoka nje.
Yeah,
under your breath.
After I've like gone to safety, then I can say. But I really wish we didn't have to be even confrontational with those kinds of people. Like it was just a set precedent that we have, that
a culture.
Yes, like the road is for all of us. Everyone needs to be safe. Everyone needs to get where they're going safely, and I think that would be better.
Maybe if
but if an 100,000 Kenyan shilling serves as a deterrent for that person not to repeat that mistake, I think it's helping get us somewhere. But that can't be the basis.
It's not everything, right? Yeah. It's not everything. And recording is, while it's good, it holds people to, it's hold people's feet to the fire. It really doesn't get us somewhere because it's only one. I assure you right now, there's an MP overlapping somewhere.
That's true.
And nothing is happening.
You can just like close your eyes and it's like several MPs overlapping.
Like somewhere. Multiverses, all of them just going on the wrong side. But let's get on to the main topic here, Justine. Continuous voter registration. It's been happening over the past 2 weeks, and we harped on and on about it in the public participation session.
Manze registered to vote.
Manze, but the llast time we spoke, I think it was a 7K. People?
Yes.
That was Monday last week. And then now it's over 20.75 thousand people.
Voters,
Over
yeah.
20,000 people are registered to vote as of October 5th. I think that's 5 days ago now.
Yeah.
That's an average of 14,500 people registering to vote every week. I did the math, and within 95 weeks to the election in 2027, there should be 1.38 million people registered to vote if we continue with this pace.
Yeah, if only this number of showing ups continue
in this trajectory.
It's kind of disheartening.
That's underwhelming.
It is.
Yeah.
I also believe it's not an isolated case. Like, I don't think this is just happening in isolation. Like 7,000 on the first week upon announcing should have had better results across the country. But getting to 7,000 and it's also a struggle, that's not a good indicator.
It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Then what's the problem? Where is the problem?
I personally believe there's a lot of voter apathy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So historically, Kenyan elections are whoever's got the influence gets to get the office that they want. And how Kenyans have been showing up, it's like if we have some kind of direct communication pipeline with the authorities in place, we can get them to do what we elected them to do, or like those who elected them don't just get to cruise off of like the elections only. Like, we can actually show up again and again and again to make sure that the right thing is being done. So I feel like voter apathy, rightfully so, does not just come from nowhere.
Where does it come from?
I think, bro, the history of this country, people have been let down so many times, even by the people who they absolutely adore. I'll give an example. Over the last couple of elections, we've seen someone who is vehemently in the opposition. Yeah. When it comes to elections, like, okay, I'll stand as this other side, versus like someone who's incumbent or someone who is like freshly into the scene, and then everything just falls apart. They end up losing the election, and then 2 years down the line, they're with the government. And it's a handshake, and we're being told this is for unity, and this is for you, and for the prosperity of this. And I'm like, where are the people who voted for him in this conversation?
But Justine, the reason I asked that question, we'll get to why people are not voting. Voter apathy, I think it can manifest itself before election, pre-election, but then the ultimate expression of voter apathy is not voting on election day and not registering to the last minute of election day. But I think there is a lot more to read from these figures. I've seen Ruto saying, and all his cronies, as you'd expect, saying out, walikuwa wanapiga mdomo. And you remember the statement, he said something to the effect of, remind them, wajue, who they can only be voted out. No in between, at least you guys are going to the streets to protest. Fair statement. But I think there's a deliberate move on the government side to stop many Kenyans from registering to vote. And you can see this from the communication strategy, which is absolute shite, if I can say. Yes. It's horrible. And how it's being done when you go to the voter registration center, the IEBC.
So what happened to you? What a Tom atuambie tu kitu ilifanyikia. Maybe just get it out of your system. Maybe
now that you've mentioned it, Justine. So last week, I think it was a strict Thursday or Friday, could be wrong. One of those 2 days. Anyway, I wake up and I'm completely uninspired. I don't know if this is depression creeping, by the way.
Tom, do you need a therapist? I feel like we're going through this the wrong way. But instead of getting a therapist, you went to?
I went to a voter registration center, imagine. At least I'm getting something changed, Justine.
You're a great citizen.
So I wake up, I go to this voter registration center somewhere close to where I live on my way to work. And I take Nduthi to this place. First of all, I did not even know where that place was. It's at a center in the middle of where I live, but then you have to, it's one of those centers where people say tupatane kwa stage flani and everyone knows where that stage is.
Accessibility.
It's not there. It's a place tucked behind a law court near the place I live. So I Google Maps, mbio, and I know it's close to the stage where I alight, kuingia mati ingine ndo nikuje kazi. At that time it's around 9-ish.
Yes.
I'm leaving the house, 10:30, I get to that place. I decide I'll dedicate my morning to go and register as a voter as early as possible. That happens. I nashuka, nachukua nduthi, I go to that place. It's 50 bob, not that far from the road, which is good, accessible. I get to that place, and it's a small office. And the moment I get there, kuna plastic seats that lead to this desk. And there's like 5 to 7 women. I say women deliberately, by the way. There's around 5 to 7 women wameketi hapo, and they're all lining up to be registered and also change their polling
Was someone
station.
helping them, like when you were entering?
No,
was there someone indicating?
No. I kid you not. That's the only constituency IEBC registration center, and there's one person manning that desk.
Like inside the whole...
Inside the whole center, there's one person in one small office. And by a small office, I mean I can take, with my very long legs, 3 steps from one end to the other end of the office. But that's besides the point.
Bro, they're registering people in a bed-sitter.
Bruh, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So this whole constituency, which I imagine has hundreds of thousands of people, is supposed to go and get registered. And kumbuka tuko Nairobi.
Yes.
And not that far from the city center. It's one of these satellite hoods.
Towns.
It's not towns even.
Yeah.
It's ni kama ni hizi towns zenye ziko kando ya Lavington, kando ya Karen, you know, these small towns with huge
It's
populations.
like, oh, it's so nice that you guys came to live here.
Exactly, like, yeah, close by, but that's a whole other thing on urban planning. But then I get to this place, and 7 people in front of me. I stand. After a while, the queue starts moving. After a while, I mean, for each person to get registered, it takes like 7 to 10 minutes.
Each person?
Each person. That's because they have to take your fingerprints. There's one person, Justine. You have to he has to look at your ID card and fill this form from top to bottom with all your details.
Is he filling it manually?
Manually.
Or is it like
No. He's writing it. He's writing it on that page. So he writes it using your ID. He takes his SKIMS kit, scans your ID, sees if you're in the system, tells you if you are or not. Then you go, stand behind in front of a plain wall. He scans your iris, takes a picture of you, profile is in, then he asks you to put your fingerprints.
Wait,
all
did you say
10
he scans
fingers.
your iris?
Yeah, he scans your iris.
New world coin.
Bruh, they owe me like 7 Gs. Anyway, it's not that. They say it's biometrics that they've introduced, that in case the KIMS kit does not recognize your
they
thumb,
can use your eye,
which is your unique identifier. They can use your eye or sometimes your earlobes, stuff like that. So between one to the next person, that one person being taken care of, that's 10 minutes.
Yes.
Remember, that's one person in that office. So do the math.
And they have to make sure that they're verifying every single point. Yeah.
Every detail has to be right. Because the KIMS kit, when it scans your ID, it's connected to the national, this database that they have all our identifications. And so this person, when he does all those things, 10 minutes per person, do the math, there's 7 people in front of me, that's 70 minutes before my turn is done. It gets to a point, I remember when one lady is changing her polling station, not even getting registered, and this dude has to pause for like 3 to 5 minutes because the KIMS kit is failing. He calls someone in another registration center to tell him, yo, network iko down, amani ninajaribu kufanya kitu na inakata. And then I don't know what that other dude told him, but I think he changed into manually changing that person's polling station.
Yes.
Now,
so there's already like protocol in place, but even the person who's registering is not familiar. They have to contact someone else.
First of all, they're the only people within a constituency. I don't know if you understand this, Justine.
And
but
a constituency is a very big
exactly.
population, yeah.
So do the math. A constituency has 100,000 people, or let's say 75,000 people.
At best, yeah.
At best. And there is a 10% of the adult population that do not have their voter registration. So 10,000 people, within that time IEBC says tumefungua CVR, those 10,000 people are supposed to go to one place and get served by one person with one hand, writing on all those documents, filling all their details.
Yeah.
At some point in the line, nimefikiwa, I'm close, like there's 2 people, I'm 2 people away from getting to my turn, and like 5 women walk in, middle-aged by the way. They walk in and they say, hey, line indefu. They check, they see like there's 7 people in the queue. They say Natch or Dikesho. I think systemically, the IEBC is not doing enough.
And that's just
yes.
that's frankly like a failure of the system. It's so deliberate. I'll say my process of trying to even figure out where I'm supposed to get the information so that I can actually go registered was a whole different ballgame. So the first thing I do, if you're someone with some access to the internet, the first thing is like you Google.
Yeah.
The IEBC website is not clunky, but you kind of have to know what you're looking for.
Exactly. So
I did not have privy information. I went to their Twitter page to like scroll and see how they've detailed how you can find your like a constituency office. And I'm like, okay, where do I live? What's the closest polling station to me? Because that's how you determine the information. You can work backwards to know where you're at.
Yeah.
I did not figure this information out immediately. I had to call several other people. I was DMing people, and like between them and their work, they were telling me, oh, if you live in this area,
go to this place.
Go to this place, or you can check this particular document. So my friend happens to be the page Bunge la Mayut, sent me the information how I can directly access like the PDF with the 11 pages with all the names of the constituencies.
Yeah.
And like if you just type a search, you'll find the name of your constituency and like where you're supposed to register. So when I look up the place, I'm like,
where is this place?
So the same as the ladies who came into the station and they were like, okay, I don't think I can get registered today because obviously in your life you also have other obligations. Maybe you're having a difficult day, you have some things to finish. You're like, okay, I need to prioritize. I'll just change until a day where I feel like I have a little more leeway. Given your experience, I'm like, okay, then I can take out like a full day to see if I can get registered on a particular day. So I agree with you. This is a deliberate issue with the IEBC where they could literally publish per constituency offices. If you're in this county, these are the details that you need to know. This is where you can register. It's a very simple graphic to do. And I know a lot of people in government are getting I don't know if they're hiring graphic designers or you're doing that graphic design is my passion thing. I don't know what you guys are up to, but if you're looking for easy ways to engage, I think proper graphics with detailed information would work so easily because all someone has to do is like maybe type Kiambu County. It shows up, and then they just look through the list. Giving people PDF files, that's difficult, and like we need more shareable, more accessible things to read. You can do them also in Kiswahili because like not everyone is reading English. Like make it easier so that more people can actually access. You can even do voice notes, or I think there's like so many things you can do IEBC that you're just failing at face value. And especially if people are using social media platforms to access information, it's easier if it's graphic. Most people are in scrolling apps. It's easier when the information can be read, directly interpreted. Directly interpreted and reshared. And I think this would be even cost effective, especially Kamnado. But you can, if you want to cut costs, you can literally look into this in a way that doesn't disenfranchise the people who are very curious to know where they should register, what the timelines are, what times your stations are open. Some people think the stations are open even on the weekends.
Even on the weekends, which isn't the case with government offices.
So if there's an accessibility issue from the point of like, oh, I know I can just show up on a certain day and I'll get registered, that lack of communication from the people who are in charge of this is really affecting how people keep showing up.
But Justine, while I think resources are a small part of this problem, there is absolutely no one who can convince me that the budget of 57 billion Kenya shillings to burn through during this election cycle, you cannot tell me that they can't afford a young person to manage their social media, because all I'm seeing on IEBC pages are pictures of Sijui, the chairperson of the IEBC attends a certain event somewhere. And it's pictures of old men with microphones.
Oh, that's like their default setting. I think they love a good I was here kind of social media strategy.
Typical government strategy.
And you can tell it's GOK loves photo ops. Me, I'll not fault you if you like being photographed everywhere you go. By the way, collect your album, save it. You know, like I used to work here. It's a good thing. But at the same time, that's not what people are looking out for in your information and communication cycles. People want to know if I need something A, I need
can go to A.
This is it's not just clickable links, but graphics that make sense. Communication strategies that factor in the kind of people you're trying to target. If you're using someone born in the 70s strategy, someone who reads a lot of reports,
of the people on IEBC,
maybe that person will be diligently reading through the whole tweet. But at the same time, there are people who are very, very, I need this information now and I'm not getting it.
If you don't give it to me now?
I'll give an example of what happened to Wabosha Maxine. She's an influencer. So Wabosha had this video up where she thought if she just wakes up and goes to the school that's near her house, that's where she'll get registered. Bro, she went there, she's like, we don't do that here.
We don't do that here, not yet.
So her next thing was like, okay, I'll go to the Huduma Center, because that girl was like, maybe you check Huduma Center. She goes to the Huduma Center, it's like, nah, bro, we're not registering anyone. The resources have not gotten to Huduma Centers. What you do, go to this place in Westlands. It's next to this administration office. You'll get the IEBC registering center there. So she goes, she shows up. It's a little bit clunky, but she ends up registering. It took her, I think she said, a little over 15 minutes or something to get registered.
That's
like
nice.
The whole process,
Took me 1.5 hours.
But it took her a border, confusion, Huduma Center to actually get registered. And to your point again, the people who are showing up have this idea of what the registration offices are, where they're situated, what information they have because of just like what the internet says or like the suggestions of other people, but that's not what's on the ground. So if there would be more deliberate communication, I feel like more people would have registered by now. If the systems are more efficient, having more people registering, more people so that one person is not running a whole constituency center, maybe more people will show up. And also Kenyans love last minutes.
That's true, that's true.
So maybe this could like show up in the back end of things where they'll have maybe to extend the continuous voter registration to accommodate more people who are just finding out the information. And also like their communication strategy should advertise. In what way? What do you mean by that? Are they not doing that? I've seen a lot of IEBC interviews. No, not the IEBC. That's something. Sasa wewe interview the advertisement ajija many. It's you tune into Daybreak on Citizen TV and you see you tune to Daybreak on Citizen TV. Yeah. Don't you do it? No. He's been to all these stations, Justine. In the morning, what I am doing is trying to cure my anxiety by meditating. Like it's not that I don't watch traditional TV, but like the way I consume information is a little different. I am more of a social media follow-up after the fact, do a little bit of deep dives. So that's how I end up getting more info. But there are people who maybe are on the front end of things. I don't know if traditional media is advertising as they were, as they are supposed to. Well, when you open your TV, like we were having this discussion earlier, like if you're maybe watching the news, there's like a little bit of a pop-up ad that tells you the continuous voters registration is on. I don't know if that's happening. I will make an effort to sit down and watch traditional media just so I can tell you, because I am not sure. And if it's happening, please tell us, because we could just be privy to. But also, Justine, I think it's important for people to know that this is just the first phase of continuous voter registration. Which means there will be a second and there will be a third day to, I think voter registration stops 60 days to the election. So that means around June or May 2027 is when voter registration stops. So all these politicians are screaming doom, telling you you're losing this opportunity, but in real sense you have like a year plus to register as a voter. I think that's an opportunity. It's also a political strategy for politicians to make sure that you feel as demoralized as possible for you to not turn up and actually register. They make it hard for you to know where you're supposed to get registered. And secondly, they scream at you for not knowing that place. And then on top of that, they scream at you for shouting at them at that time they killed one of you. The
political
revolution
strategy
will
at
not
the
be
end of the day.
televised. It starts in your mind. You kind of have to go past the information they're trying to sell you.
I'm just seeing here, Justine, as well, that the average productivity of registration, this is 2007, was exceptionally low. You know what happened after 2007?
Yes.
However, only 1.1 registered voters per day per registration team, and just 0.8 voters in the first of the 2 periods per registration team. And you know what happened after 2007, 2008?
That was a terrible election.
So imagine if the same thing happens now.
We're not going to get there. We have a chance to reshape our own story by showing up in whatever way we can. And I think also just like organizing and mobilizing people to show up, sensitizing people across friends, across people you have access to kind of helps. Because I think there's something that you said, there's someone who said they didn't know that voter registration was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the comments of an IEBC post, let me just find it quickly. But basically the person was saying, until I saw this post by you guys, I did not know that IEBC was even opening the register for people to register.
The Ministry of Health is always sending me random ads about SHA working. Where won't IEBC take the same initiative? And I don't know how much money has IEBC been given, by the way?
57 billion between now and the election.
Okay, do they release it in parts or?
No, yes, because that's how the budget cycle works.
Of course.
But for continuous voter registration, it's 8 billion for this entire exercise.
Yes.
And this is phase 1. The second phase we read was starting on July 1st. On the next financial year, that's when the second phase of the continuous voter registration, that's the mass registration. Yeah, of around, I think 40% of the budget will go to that at that time.
Yes.
At this point now, it's just 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the requirements for people who want to be registered as voters?
So if you want to register as a voter, you have to, first of all, not have been registered as a voter before. You have to have a national ID card. That means you have to be 18 plus.
Yeah.
And you have to have the physical copy of your ID or passport to register as a voter. Yes.
And also you need to be sane. You need to be sane. They said,
they
said you have to be of sound mind.
How would they know?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they have a metric. Maybe is it in the, when they scan your iris and earlobes?
They can tell if you have any substance in your head. But it says here, this dude was, keep in mind, this was in the post by an IEBC post. The hashtag was CVR 2025, 27th November by elections, talk with the IEBC. A bunch of hashtags which, frankly, no one uses.
Yep.
And they were saying, just found myself by bad luck watching news today. Kumba kuna voter registration. IEBC, move with speed and sack whoever is in charge of public awareness and campaign. Could you be sabotaging voter registration? Justine, I want this comment, this very real comment by whoever this is. Good thing he's using a pseudo DCI excuse as a kubeba for speaking the truth. This dude takes us to the next stage, which is if he hadn't known about this, he'd be considered a young person who did not vote in 2027.
True.
That's in the right word that people came up with this word. It's called voter apathy. People who don't show up to vote when they can vote.
Yeah.
What do you think informs voter apathy in Kenya? Because you didn't vote in the last elections, and I didn't. To be fair.
But to tell the truth, I think the thing that really irks me about the electoral process in itself, it's usually even if you're incentivized and you want to participate in governance, there's an illusion of choice. A lot of people feel like they're electing, they want their views and the things that they want for themselves and country reflected in the person who they're choosing. So sometimes the reason I personally did not vote was I felt there was I didn't feel like there was a choice. Like a choice that I resonated with. That's the best way to say it. I didn't feel like I had the choice to resonate with. Why didn't you register or vote?
Why didn't I register or vote?
Yeah.
I wasn't, one, it's on me. I wasn't politically aware at that time. But also number two, at that time, I didn't feel, this is such a horrible thing to say now. In hindsight, I'm so ashamed of where I was at that time. But I didn't feel compelled to participate. I felt like the work I was putting in journalism was enough participation, which is a huge lie. But yeah, you cook me for that, but please
No, me, I'll
continue,
not cook you. But just know, Tom's journalism is more important than helping
who's
the
president?
country.
No,
Yeah,
man, it's a lie I told myself at that time. Why didn't you vote?
I think for me, it's a form of protest. I thought if I abstain, like it was an active thing where you voting and voting for a bad person, or like putting some questionable character in office, or someone you don't believe in, or like passively voting, to me that's not doing your civic part. I think it's a cop-out. It's, yes, you're participating, but like, what are you really doing? Do you really align with this person, or do you just want to say, okay, I voted? Because that's also a thing. So for me, not voting was me protesting, participating in a system that I feel like I did not have a choice.
That's not true.
No, that's
you did
that's
have
my
choices,
truth.
Justine. You didn't have two candidates on that ballot paper.
You're placing that on me. You know, the reason why I say this is because usually after elections, and this is something that has happened again and again, you find the people that were UCO selective candidates end up in government.
Ruben Kigame is not in government.
Look, what I'm saying is, in that moment in time, these were my reasons for not voting. I'm not justifying them to be like, look, I was on the right. No, these are my reasons. These are my reasons. I was like, I don't feel like I have a choice. I don't feel like I'm aligned with any of these candidates, and I want to, like my abstinence is a protest to the voting process that gives us an illusion of choice. But that's the reason I stayed. I was aware, and I was doing this actively. I'm not saying that, oh, I was right and everyone needs, like, no.
No, I hear you, Justine. Yes. However, I think your stance. Mimi, I'll buy the bullet. Me, I say I was stupid at that time. No. But Justine, you cannot say that your lack of participation in an elective process, which is supposed to make democracy run. This is the cornerstone of democracy. Listen to me, Justine. Let me ask. It's the cornerstone of democracy, Justine, and you not participating in it, you call activism? That's not true. This was our one opportunity to give our vote to Ruben Kigame or Mwaura, who remotely aligned with what we believed in. Okay. It's not activism, because I didn't even say any of those things. I said I was protesting. What? You're protesting what? I was protesting the illusion of choice. But you had choices. You didn't have two candidates, Justine. Did I have choices? Yes, you did. No, I did not have choices. So you want to tell me there are two people in the ballot box? That's what I felt at the time. That is what I felt at the time. First of all, I didn't think Sakaja would be a good governor, so I was not going to elect Sakaja as the governor. You had options. Look. You had Igathe. That's what I'm saying. Igathe was not going to be any better either. Who else was running in Nairobi County? Like, the reason I am pushing back against this narrative is because there's usually like this responsibility that's held to people who, and like rightfully so, there's a part that's truth, where it's like you as a person who's opting out of voting, you are kind of contributing to the results that end up showing up at the end of the cycle. Even your lack of participation. Yes. Even your lack of participation is participation. But I am actively saying the reason I did not participate is because I felt like there was an illusion of choice. I know better now, right? I know better now. I'm not saying at that moment I was like, I was actively protesting a process that has been flawed and mad with all these different pitfalls that I just didn't want to participate in. And my friends have called me out for this. They shamed me, and Tom included, but like all my friends have been very vocal about me being a part of the problem. Yeah. And rightfully so. And I want to say thank you so much to my friends for being very mean. I decided I'm gonna be better. So Justine, if you were supposed to stand by those beliefs, that there is an illusion of choice, as you said, do you not think that we will end up with a Ruto part 2, or we'll end up with a Matiang'i part 1 and maybe a Matiang'i part 2 afterwards? You know what you're saying right now, I vehemently agree with. Because personally, and there are people who still espouse those beliefs personally online. The place I was at during the last election cycle,
was very apathetic to the process because of my personal beliefs.
Yes.
I will not say that I'm burdening someone else with my choices. They were my choices, and I stand by them until now. But for this particular cycle, I am choosing to change that because I feel like maybe this time I have enough people around that I feel like I've rallied and organized with to make a better choice.
Feels like a betrayal to not show up.
Yes,
on election
that's what I
day.
mean.
Yeah.
Yes. So the illusion of choice in this particular instance stemmed from what I would hear my brothers say. The people who were around me at the time mostly were my family. And I would hear about how they would talk about politics, and even in the counter, it was not about us moving to a place where we are picking something that matters. It was about defending personal interests, aligning with, my brothers are not tribalists, but it's like, can we just figure out how not to be in government again?
Yeah.
So I was very opposed to this idea because I'm like, why am I surrounded by this very rhetoric that is like putting us in the same cycle again and again and again? So in part of that protest, I was like, I don't want to continue participating in it. But also, I did remove myself from like making like a little bucket drop of change.
Justine, there was this argument before we went on air. I feel it would be misplaced if we don't have it right now. But in this room, there was an argument whether voting is the only way or the most, or the ultimate way of civic participation. By this I mean, is not voting and showing up in the streets and organizing and protesting, does that matter or equate the importance of voting? I disagreed with that.
What was your stance?
My stance was that voting is the ultimate way of participating in democracy.
Okay, my belief is continuous participation on the day-to-day. That's the thing that makes the change, so that like the voting process actually matters. So
then are we going to engage in this argument by first of all starting with, oh, you can do both? Or you can give up voting and you can participate in protests? Because my
argument is not giving up voting. Because even prior to the elections, prior to the things, I was having conversations that I felt were meaningful to me.
Yes.
I was having them with people in my life who, you know, even if you fight, you can still, like, you know, you're stuck with them. I was having them with my friends. I was having them with my family. Those are people who are immediate to me. And I feel like my voice should matter and their voices should matter, like, you're back and forth, right? So in them specifically participating, I'll say my brother is one of those people who, my brother is a teacher. One of my brothers is a teacher. And he's a very impressive person to me because he's always trying to impart knowledge or like share or like make you think about your choices. Funnily enough, like when it comes to elections, it's a whole different thing. But like when it comes to the day-to-day and how you should show up,
how to run it.
like there's things where like the way he shows up really matters to me. Like because he's like a member of a union. He's like very active in like how do we engage, how do we
organizing.
get better circumstances for the people who work, for the students, for the nini. That is literal nation building at the most basic level possible.
Agree.
The reason he's showing up in that way is that so that the day-to-day people like me, the apathetes, like the apathetic people like me, do not exist. Because if you're two people removed from someone who's actively participating in the day-to-day and helping make those two changes that really matter in your thought process, in your community, in the larger tenets that you're in, it makes you really feel like, okay, maybe I can be impactful, right?
But how does that matter?
The reason,
if he votes wrong.
Or if he
doesn't vote
you understand what I mean? Those two things are parallels because your nation cannot exist outside of, can continue to exist outside of poor ballot choices. So I did like a game show thingy with my friend Meran and Aman, and there's a question I asked them. Does Kenya have national daddy issues? Because like that was like from what Meran has configured as a history buff and all these things. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she was like, okay, Kenyans usually abscond their duty as a person. After they vote, it's like, we're done, daddy will fix it. And then when daddy's not fixing it and he's doing the wrong thing, he's coming home with tea and no roads, you're like, oh my God, daddy unafanya. Like, that's how Kenyans vote.
Yeah.
That's how she said Kenyans vote. And personally, I saw it reflected in the smaller things where someone will make a choice at the ballot.
Yes.
And then they'll be like, I hope this guy is good for the time that he's going to be there. He's just going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
There are people who have their MPs who have not stated it or like brought anything to the house like at all.
Zero, including
Yes.
Peter Orero Ilo.
Exactly, including
Peleka
that. That guy does not have any kind of legislations to his name.
And Sudi.
So you get what I mean when you say you're electing and then you're done.
Yeah.
That's not participating. That's you giving someone the freedom to do what they want.
Yeah.
So for me, participating at least civically has to extend beyond the ballot.
That's true.
And I feel like
agree.
Kenyans have done such a good job over the last couple of years of showing up, educating each other, telling people you should really check about who is your MP. Your MP, what is their duty? Your MCA,
Post
your women rep.
2022.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like all these conversations are happening together.
Yes.
And like when it requires like these people are not listening to us, let us protest, people showed up, they made their voices heard.
Yeah.
They utilized the constitution in the way that it's supposed to. And to me, all these things working and people building community and saying stop police brutality, that's participation in the civic process.
In the civic, away from the election.
Yes, because we don't need to be seeing the deaths of Kenyans who are fighting for the right thing because they are civically participating in what their country is. Like
true.
the apathy for a lot of Kenyans sometimes it ended at the ballot. Like it's like, okay, I voted and these people are supposed to do the right thing.
And then let's wait for the next election cycle.
So msebe there kinikosea, next election tutapatana.
But it's avenging on the ballot box.
And those 5 years that person is like stealing your money,
enriching themselves.
Yeah, like just showing up to, what are they called those? To Harambes, giving back 100,000 that was also stolen from like CDF money, and everyone is cheering them. It's like, this man
Ruto
loves
gave like
us.
50 million yesterday.
Yes, you understand what I mean. Where are you getting all this money in this particular economy where Kenyans are disenfranchised? So civic participation, for me, even if you voted wrong or you voted right, and then that was the last day that you participated anything about civic, like you actually failed. Because you're not failing everyone, you're failing yourself.
By not
personal
consistently.
Yeah. And it's hard. Bro, being an active citizen is tiring.
It's tough, man.
There's days when I'm like, I read a story and I'm like, I need 5 business weeks off before I see another story. But unfortunately, that's not how our lives are designed.
There's this other part where people say, why should I even vote? Because itaibiwa, kura itaibiwa, they'll rig it anyway. That's a
valid issue for me. That's a valid issue.
I don't think that's a valid issue.
No, I'm saying that's a valid issue because we've seen people where they've had to request a hold by election because there was so much ballot stuffing in their area.
That is true.
There's times when you're like, okay, the registered constituents are 110. The people who voted are 300,000. Like, do we have like a ghost section that we're not being told about or something?
But Justine, staying outside the vote does not make that better. Show up to the vote.
I agree.
Make those numbers significantly high for whoever you're voting for.
Yes.
Then after that, we can start speaking about them ballot stuffing.
You understand what I mean? I understand. Like, I'm saying this is a legitimate concern. Like, Kenyans are voicing the right thing. I'm not saying it's...
I don't think it is.
Okay. What I need explain.
Yeah.
It makes sense that people would be apathetic because they feel like they'll be rigged out of the system. I'm not saying they shouldn't participate at all because they feel like they'll be rigged out of the system.
But that's what happens most of the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we can be more vigilant. We have more social media communication right now where people can be like, Mlisema, how many people have registered? Aya. Voting process imeanza sangapi? Like, people can do the Form 34A.
I see that happening in 2027.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people can be more actively participatory in this process without having to feel apathetic in the first place. Like, usijitoe kwa game na game haijaanza. Like, just give yourself a chance to see the thing through.
Yes.
So that when it fails, you actually have the data to back you up that you were rigged out of a system that you really, really participated in.
Exactly. Because God forbid we have a situation like Rwanda, where the president wins like 89%, or Russia.
Landslide.
Yeah, I think we should have a situation like what happened in Gambia in 2016, where this guy who has been in power for the longest time
even Cameroon
isn't even rigged out. And there's been a number of one-term presidents, actually, Malawi being one of them.
Seychelles.
Yes, where
I'm forgetting the other one. The Madagascar president literally just went to France because of the protests. Morocco, they're protesting. So a lot of people are feeling like their governments are failing them, and they're showing up in the right way. And I think that's important.
But we had like 65% voter turnout in 2022. 79%.
That's the lowest in 15 years.
That's the lowest in 15 years, which is very impressive. The only other one that beat 2022 in voter apathy was 2002, which is ironic because that was when Kenya turned a new leaf.
But I think that's when people have the least belief. There's this political thing where they say it takes only a third of the population to make the significant change, because other people are willing and happy. When it happens, they're like, okay, now we believe in it. But only a third of them are usually like, we're true believers of this thing, and those are the people who usually make the changes. So be part of the one.
Be part of the 25%. But the 75% of Kenyans are youths. Oh my 55
God.
million Kenyans, and 75% of them are youth. So that could be very decisive.
Yes.
We could speak about so many things, including an agreeable candidate, which is another hot topic. Maybe we'll have that for another session. Because you can't get everything in one person. But then, Justine, time has run out. The election is going to cost us a ton.
Yes.
I think 57, which makes around
57.3 billion.
Yes. That means around 2,000 shillings, 2,200, I think, or 2,400 per voter by 2027.
But then you're just what? You need to me 2K.
And
that's you.
That's you on election day. To me already. And all those people are going to be voting on that day. That's one of the highest in terms of costs elections globally.
Kenyans, you're so expensive.
So expensive, man. But most of those features that lead to that final cost of 2,000, those are security features according to IEBC themselves. Hiring people who are going to oversee the votes. So
it's the earlobes and the...
It's the earlobes and the Kim's kit. All those things are what are making this expensive.
Elections. Bro, this is crazy.
I remember us debating this before we went on air briefly. Does that make sense? Are you willing to...
I think it's a lot of money.
But the opposite of that is an election which is not foolproof, according to some Kenyans.
An election that's also not well-funded will show up in the results and also in how people are engaged. Because right now, I'm worried that maybe the money that was released to the IEBC is very little. That's why they're not even doing advertising campaigns to like rally people. Maybe it's part of it. Maybe it's, if they've not even paid school capitation for third term, how we expect them to send money to IEBC? Because we know their priority list is all kinds of madness. So if we need all the money we can get and the resources to make sure that the election is foolproof, I think it should be put in. But also every shilling should be accounted for. Honestly, IEBC amwezi tuibia. Surely, like, put the I in independent. Like, be selfish for us.
I don't think they use that I really well, because we've seen ballots that have been stuffed, and at the end, even last time, 2022, kulikuwa na a lot of numbers that were even an IEBC commissioner, a section of IEBC commissioners. The final decisions are made within those circles, and they went to the other team.
Mad.
And UK spends 480 shillings per voter. In the elections.
480 shillings. I think we have a problem with the procurement process. We have a problem with between the people who are handling elections and hiring processes and all these different, like, the moving parts in Kenya are many, but also they're deliberately made to be this way so that some people take advantage of the system.
Absolutely. Everything is an opportunity to make money in Kenya, man. Finally, Justine, finally, there are we have 2 sessions before we end this show every day. For my public participation this time, there are some bills that are waiting for your views on them, specifically the bill that I mentioned last week in Senate, Bill number 16 of 2025, which seeks to amend the Constitution to provide for additional seats in the National Assembly and the Senate in order to meet the 2/3 gender rule. This will obviously increase the allowances and benefits that all these MPs are getting, including their pensions, which is a ton. And also the Public Energy Amendment Bill. The previous one that I've just mentioned, you can send your views on this bill. You have until January 30th next year to do this. You can read it. And the second one is Senate Bill number 11 of 2025 on the energy bill. It's supposed to be an amendment to that bill. And you have a deadline of October 16th to send us in 3 days, Jesus Christ. To send your opinions on this bill. And yeah, that's it for our public participation session. Justine, our former co-host.
Yes. Okay, so
John Allen, you can just say
John Allen Namu was AI'd into a video that showed him announcing that Raila is dead, and I don't know, is the video going to be played?
We could play it.
Can we play the video?
Next, yeah.
Yeah.
So I literally was coming out of a class about journalism and AI and opened my WhatsApp to then find this message that has a video, a TikTok video.
Raila Odinga died this morning in unclear circumstances, and earlier today investigations were launched into his death.
Obviously the video is fake, obviously, you know, unless I'm Wolverine, I was able to grow my beard in 24 hours and somehow reclaim years of losing inches on my hairline. But the point here is that, you know, is it shocking to see your own face, you know, spouting lies? And it looks as if it actually is you. Of course it's shocking, but it's not surprising. Think about where we are right now as society, as a world in terms of technology. I think rather than, you know, go up and into the tower and start ringing the bells of fear and alarm about a video, obviously a deep fake, I'd say that this is an invitation for people to learn, right? Learn what the capacity of artificial intelligence is, learn what its limits are, learn what your rights are, learn what their limits are, learn who controls the board, like who are the people who are sitting at the table, just so that you can understand your place in the world in relation to artificial intelligence. And that way, it gives you a sense of, even limited, but, you know, it does give you a sense of agency. It does give you a sense of, okay, there's something I can do about this, or there's a way in which I can understand it, or there's a way I can educate, you know. Because going through the comment section on that video, I was like, man, this is wild. My guys, of course this is fake, you know. And obviously the concerns are real, but this is time for us to start, you know, let's not wait for that education to reach us when it's already been shaped. Let's contribute right now to the debate about artificial intelligence and its role in our lives. Oh, and Odanga, my main man, thank you for bringing that to my attention and getting me to think about it. Cheers, guys.
Okay, so that particular video is scary because John Allen did not say those words. It was not him, but they used his likeness, they used his voice, they set it up in a news station. And a lot of Kenyans, like the way the news is presented to you, it's a certain way. So it's already like the image is in your head.
Great.
So when someone sees a video like this, they're familiar with the person. It's a trusted source because like John Allen's work speaks for itself.
Sure.
So it already, it's like a settling feeling. It's like, you know, this person, they wouldn't lie. But the entire video was fabricated. And I think AI at the moment is in a very dangerous place. Sora
I've seen the videos.
Yes, Sora has launched like this new imaging chapter in their release where people can create videos that feel so real that a lot of even people who consider themselves AI experts can't tell what's the truth and what's a lie. And as much as I like playing on people's brains and like trying to test the real humanness in you, I think this is a very dangerous thing, because if we cannot believe videos and photos, we'll have to rely on a lot of testimony, because John Allen came out and said this is not him, and people should be very wary about the information that's being shared, and also the use of someone's likeness to spread misinformation. And what I believe this will end up happening, remember Sudan, remember when our PS, the Foreign Affairs PS, shared a deepfake video of Farid Zakaria supporting, like making a case for why Kenya is supporting the RSF. And that video was up for hours and it wasn't flagged, and there's like no systems in place to flag these kinds of disinformation and misinformation campaigns. It makes it a little scary for internet users such as myself and Tom and everyone out there, that you might not be able to know what's the truth and what's a lie. And because Kenyans have access to these tools, and even if you thought it's like a joke, it's like, no one is going to believe this, all this information ties into people who maybe don't even use the internet that much. Maybe they open WhatsApp to see one video, and now they believe a whole completely different thing. So we are breaking reality when we do such kinds of tricks. So I think that there needs to be some kind of flagging with a lot of AI software that tells you this is an AI product.
That's not going to happen if Mark Zuckerberg is...
the thing is, like, the regulation sometimes comes from the country. Because if you're going to operate here, we cannot allow you to have Kenyans use a version of your app that can send misinformation. That just sets a dangerous precedent for us. It puts the entire Kenyan population in danger, because we can be sent wrongful information about very sensitive matters, and then we wouldn't know what to do. And using a likely, very familiar, very trusted source is deliberate. Because then when that person comes out and says, see Mimi, sometimes people are tempted not to believe them.
And the truth travels 10 times around the world before even... No, a falsity travels around the world before even the truth can...
The truth is so slow. It still has some creaking knees. It's rubbing its eyes. It's taking its time to like be the truth. So like just be wary. And I really think all this AI, as much as I would like to do a deep dive on this, I think just people should be more wary about how they use this AI software, AI apps, and how they communicate or reshare information, especially without verification. I've
been seeing a lot of videos of mostly harmless videos.
AI slop is dangerous, man.
It's actually so easy to believe it is. I remember seeing a video of a deer running through the window of someone's house when they're sleeping. This guy wakes up shocked. That video was funny to me because of how the deer just ran in confusion in the room and then jumped out of the window, only to see that there's a watermark for Sora. So it's harmless for now, but that video looked so real.
They're messing with people's ideas of reality. And there's a creator I was following who said, right now you'll have to rely a lot on testimony. But even those can be fabricated.
Very true.
So at some point, this AI slop, I think it's very politically targeted. It's going to be used so very harshly against us. You won't even be able to believe your own family sometimes. So I think go outside, touch grass, hug your neighbor. Maybe that will help you. You know, like be in touch with the reality that's near you. And if you need to make a phone call to verify, do that.
Do that. And African Censored does fact checking. On its platforms, Big FRMB. You should maybe tag us when those videos
reach out.
But Justine, that's all the time we had today. Hopefully next week you can do a deep dive on AI or something else.
Hopefully.
But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving us an hour of your time. Enjoy the rest of your day from wherever you're watching us, and have a good night.